Greetings, traveler. Strange that we should meet here. Of all places, I thought I would find solitude in a stedding. Well, the wheel weaves us as it wills, and we are but threads in its great pattern. The night is cold. The winds howl in a frenzy. Come, sit by my fire. I have some meat and mead that we can share. My people are the Do Miere A'vron, the watchers over the waves. I see you've heard of us. Maligning whispers, no doubt. For hundreds of years we have perched upon Tormund's head, gaze turned westward, awaiting the return. Generation after generation has kept this watch, this silent vigil. Regardless of how odd you might find this, surely you have to admire that single-minded dedication. It is said that in the final years of Ata Hawkwing's empire, the High King sent out two great expedition groups, laden with warriors and prospective settlers, commanded by a son and a daughter of his blood. Ata charged them with conquest. One group voyaged to the lands beyond the Isle West, Shara. Even today we know very little of it, save that silk, ivory, and yet more exotic goods can be sourced there. This particular expedition force was curtailed. Seafolk sailors told of shattered ships, timber, flotsam, a failure. The other group traveled even further. They traversed the arid ocean to the lands beyond, a continent some call Shanchan. No reports came back from that voyage. Even the seafolk hesitated to travel that far. Not long after, Ata Hawkwing died. His great empire shattered, every seam unraveling as the great lords and ladies who had seethed silently at the king's disregard of their pedigree fought to carve out kingdoms of their own. This conflict lasted for 100 years, and its fruits are the nations we know of today, pale shadows of a greatness they shunned. Hawkwing's empire was the greatest achievement of mankind in this age, and any scholar who says otherwise is unworthy of the title. A maiden bedecked in her finest jewels could have traveled unmolested from one end of it to the other. The lowborn are said to have raised statues and monuments to the king, all on their own accord. For was there ever a fairer monarch? Was there ever a greater commander in battle? How many wars did he fight? Years upon years of conquests, and never a single loss. And yet, look over there. Amidst that copse of trees, do you see that marble column? The crumbling stone surrounding it. Once it stood tall and proud, one of the many raised in homage to the High King Ata Paendrag Taanrial. I tell you, friend, it is the greatest loss we, as a people, as a species, have known this side of the shattering. Nobles and their entitlement. Even I don't know who the first of us were, but I can take a guess. They were likely people who despaired at the roiling chaos sweeping all across the lands they had known. Seeking something of that past, they came to Tormund's head, looking to the horizon for salvation. No word had come back of Luther Paendrag, the sole remaining heir of all that had stood beneath Hawkwing's banner. It wasn't a big stretch of the imagination to believe that he could return for his birthright. It was a very desperate hope. But that is what war does to the defenseless. Hundreds of years have passed. Many of those initially victorious in the wars have since passed into dust. Other skirmishes have broken out and bled the land. Years of peace, of blight, of loss, hard winters and long summers, and still the Do Miere A'vron have remained, ever watching. We choose from among our number a first watcher, a leader of sorts. Should the day ever dawn when the lost armies should return, he or she will be our liaison to them, explaining that we have kept faithful to our oaths. My father held that post. The thing about growing up in such an environment, in such a place, is that
it germinates a certain sense of skepticism in some of us.
Like myself, I didn't want to spend my life waiting for something so unlikely, so far-fetched. I wanted to chase. First chance I got, I left. Managed to convince some traders to take me on as an extra hand. Eagerly, I gorged on the sights of the world that I had long been denied. The years passed and I grew up. Soon enough, I had my own caravan, become my own merchant, with some success. I went back home, met with father several times. It was fascinating and strange. He truly believed in it, in these armies that will one day come back. He and many of our people still believed that they will receive honors upon honors for keeping true. And now, have you heard of the Troubles? No? Well, I guess they've done a good job at curtailing it. Maybe news hasn't traveled this far yet. Luther Pine Drag's armies, descendants of Ata Hawkwing, conquerors of a whole nation, they say, a whole continent. They have come back. They ride on monsters from nightmares. They have Aes Sedai chained like dogs. Pretty unbelievable stuff. And they killed my father. Hung up in a crow's cage until he died. So I've imagined it so many times now. Relieved what he might have thought in his last moments, seeing his great dreams come to life and morph into nightmares so horrific. That's why I came here, you know. We stopped by this place once, talked about that crumbled piece of stone. Just had to come here and look at that statue again. We've all fallen so far from those glory days, haven't we? This life, I suppose. From here on, I will travel back to Farmer. I have to go see it for myself, even though it's dangerous and stupid. But a son has a duty to the father. I must find out what remains of him, bury him if I can. That is tomorrow's work. Enough of my woes. I've learned to deal with losses. It's part and parcel of what being a trader means. And I suppose that this too shall pass. What is one more conqueror? What is a king of another? We small men must learn to survive. But what of you? Surely there's a story there. I have not been blind to those yellow eyes, and you see me with a certain keenness that I find strange. You have a story to tell. I'm open to it. Just drink away our woes, brother, stranger. You've been a very good listener, and I appreciate that. I will do the same for you. Look at us, two strangers meeting by chance beneath the grace of a stedding. Seems like the beginning of some glee man's tale.